Ja, sehr geehrte
Members of the festive community, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Dies Academicus 2022. And I can tell you, it's just great to see that so many of you have come here. I mean, we forgot how to meet so many people, but in view of the current energy crisis, we also need this heat in here. Wonderful. Welcome to all of you. Also, welcome to the guests of honor. I would like to welcome our Minister of State of Science and Arts, Markus Blume. Great to have you here because you're an alumnus of the HFP and the TUM. And as you know from our first term reception, and you know this is the new symbol for TUM members to wear. So I brought a cap to you. I would like to welcome the presidents and chancellors of the Bavarian universities and universities of applied sciences and the Bavarian Academy of Sciences, and I'd like to also President of the Bavarian Constitutional Court, and I'd like to welcome Wolfgang Herrmann, because after all you led the fate of TUM as President and Grand Seigneur for 24 years, and that is why I'm very happy to see that we are getting together here with the students right through to all our senior alumni. I would also like to welcome the mayors, the district councillors, the members of the local parliaments and the Bavarian state parliament, the many representatives from business, especially our TUM Partners of Excellence and the media. And on behalf of all of them, I would like to welcome Dr. Wolfgang Heubisch. You really are one to keep the ties to the TUM family strong. Now, from our TUM family, I'd like to welcome the members of our University Council Senate, the Board of Trustees, the students, our staff members, the many staff members of our university, the professors, the deans. So we've become fewer, they've become fewer, but they've become more significant due to the restructuring. Then the emeriti, the many honorary doctors, and it's thanks to your tailwind, the tailwind provided by the friends of partners that we need in these times that shows such a great deal of ups and downs. And we'd like to thank you for your generous support, for your flexibility, especially looking back, because we really put it through the acid test. But I'd also like to thank you for your pragmatic approach. Time and again, this was in need because we have times that are challenging, and I'd like to thank you for that. So, as to make sure that our Dies Academicus is provided with the right festive musical setting it deserves, we've invited a gifted jazz singer and composer. She will make sure of that. She's Alma Naidu. She's the winner of the Bavarian State Award for the Advancement of Arts, or for emerging artists in 2021. A great career start into music. Alma, we're looking forward to you. We're looking forward to providing this wonderful musical framework for our Dies Academicus. Over to you.
The sun doesn't like you, you always get burned when you step outside the shadows in the light. You don't really need it, you shine so bright yourself, every room lights up as if you were a lamp. And nothing stands between us, even though you can't see me right now. You don't really need me to find your way through this crowd. Someday I'll be home, my love. Someday I'll be home, my love. Someday I'll be home. someday I'll be home. And you'll get older and stronger each day till we meet again. On your own you will find all the places to roam. Keep following your heart, your solitude will guide you to a place of love, where I will be there in your heart, leading you on. The rain doesn't cool you, you don't have to be afraid to step outside the shadows once a while. Please hold on to your promise to see the world. Don't be afraid when there's so much to be seen and to be heard. See how the moon shines down on your way back home every time you finish with your day. The stars will guide you, don't worry, everything will be okay. 'Cause someday I'll be home, my love. Someday I'll be home, my love. Someday I'll be home, my love. Someday I'll be home. And you'll get older and stronger each day till we meet again. On your own you will find all the places to roam. Keep following your heart, your solitude will guide you to a place of love, where I will be there in your heart, leading you on, leading you on, leading you on.
Ich schicke Ihnen herzliche Grüße von der internationalen Raumstation ISS nach Deutschland, Bayern und nach Oberpfaffenhofen. Seit meinem Studium an der TU München bin ich der TU und damit auch Bayern verbunden. Die neue Raumfahrtfakultät an der TU zeigt, dass in Bayern Zukunftsforschung vorangetrieben wird. Wir führen hier auf der ISS Forschung durch, die aufgrund der Schwerkraft auf der Erde nicht möglich wäre. Und damit helfen wir, Innovationen für die Menschen auf der Erde voranzubringen. Das ist für mich ebenso wichtig wie motivierend. To boldly go where no one has gone before. Dieses Motto inspiriert viele Menschen. Und ich bin froh, dass auch Sie in Bayern immer wieder zu neuen Horizonten aufbrechen. Live long and prosper.
Ja. Samantha.
Right, Samantha Cristoforetti, TUM alumni, ESA astronaut, and first European commander on the International Space Station ISS. Even in space, her thoughts are with her alma mater. And I believe she proves it. Our alumni really have blue blood. And she proves how far you can get with a great deal of courage, excellent education, and a great feeling a great pioneering spirit and a great feeling of being at home, emotionally connected to your alma mater. 2 months ago in space, 400 kilometers above Munich, she tweeted greetings to our students, 50,000 in the meantime. That's another historic all-time high. On the 17th of October, we welcomed our approximately 14,000 first-year students. And this view from the stage lets you look into the curious faces of the students who are proud to now be a member of TUM Munich. And I believe this diversity of talent is our greatest asset at TUM. 37% of our students are female now. Tendency is rising, so there's a great deal ahead of us still. 41% are of non-German nationality. And we've got more than 50% international students at the master level, coming from more than 140 countries. They come to us from all over the world. I would like to most cordially welcome our student representative, David Vadasz. During his talk, he will take a look back at the year and certainly also share with us an outlook into the next year. Almost 980 students can be supported with the Deutschland Stipendium Scholarship this year, a new record figure for our 10-year anniversary. I believe we can congratulate everyone who actually facilitates and renders these scholarships possible. We've been able to award 6,000 scholarships in the past 10 years. This amounts to a total of 20 million euros in terms of support for our students. So I would like to thank the generous personalities, the private persons, companies, foundations that make this possible. They give 1,800 euros per scholarship per year. It's not per month, it's per year. And which is then topped up by the federal government to arrive at 3,600 euros. And I believe those students out of the 50,000 who cannot benefit from that or have not been able to benefit from that so far would be happy to see if many of you actually would follow suit here and also offer a contribution. We were all shocked on the 24th of February by the Russian invasion of Ukraine in the heart of Europe, and we did not hesitate to offer the people affected by the war the security of our university community. 200 refugee Ukrainian Munich school children were invited to build models for the city of the future in our ArchiKids workshop, and to work playfully on their social integration. For the workshop, I'd like to thank the Ukrainian architect Katerina Babushkina, as well as Professor Regina Kere, Raphael Stutz, Tanya Sion, and Martin Luce from the Department of Architecture, and the students for their support. And we have created unbureaucratic access to our courses, to our formats for students affected by the war with an integration program. We've supported them with direct financial aid. To this end, we helped to increase the emergency fund of the Free State of Bavaria with our own fundraising campaign. And we've brought top scientific talent from Ukraine to our TUM Institute for Advanced Study with a new fellowship program, and we also invited their families to Munich. I'd like to thank especially those people who made this possible, because it just took 2 weeks to finance 10 fellowships totaling 250,000 euros. My special thanks go to Susanne Porsche, I saw her before, and Alexander Liegel. Thank you very much for your personal, private commitment and the activation and motivation of your circle of friends. You have helped to give these people a new spiritual home, a new sense of stability in our academic community. And every scientist here knows how important this community is for us. It provides us with the support and the purpose of life that we need. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to the professors of TU Munich itself, who hosted the fellows, who gave them scientific work opportunities, access to the labs and workshops. One of them is Konstantinos Antonio, a professor for network transport systems. And he's going to be here on the stage later on as the representative of his colleagues, together with his scholarship holder, Yulia Yamnenko. And then you're going to see what a great community is able to do and is capable of achieving. And we have been able to feel the sense of community again on 17th of July at our TUM Summer Matinee and the Viva TUM concert after a 2-year break. Twice we had the Munich Isar Philharmonie concert hall filled to a capacity. Almost 2,000 people enjoyed the Fidelia Overture, excerpts from the Piano Concerto No. 4 and Symphony No. 5 by Ludwig van Beethoven. And I'd like to thank our conductor Felix Meyer, the Munich Symphonic Ensemble, the soloist Gerold Huber, who captivated us all, because everybody who was there really felt drawn into this piano. He really was captivating. And during this celebration weekend, we also honored our 400 golden and silver jubilarians who completed their diploma or doctorate at TU Munich 50 and 25 years ago, respectively. And I'd like to thank the teams from fundraising and alumni and career for their tireless efforts during this 3-day mega party weekend. And on this occasion, we also celebrated the 100-year anniversary of the Bundes der Freunde, which will in future operate under a new name as Friends of TUM. It's 100 years of friendship, 100 years of personal commitment of our alumni, and 100 years of supporting projects, initiatives, student initiatives, networks, etc. And our commemorative publication, Friends for 100 Years, provides impressive evidence of the exemplary support activities of our association. And as our founders once wished back in 1922, reaffirms the cross-generational bond it forms around our TUM family. And I'd like to thank all those people who helped develop this association into what it is today and who continue to work for it in the future. So just become a member. We made it very easy for you. This is your QR code. Just use the QR code to get to our website, and then you almost made it to becoming a member of this association. We also are putting our heart and soul into promoting appointments, strongly supported by more than 80 new professorships from the high-tech agenda Bavaria. I believe I congratulate you, State Minister. This is really Champions League, not just at the regional level, but really at the national level. We were able to successfully conclude 167 appointments in the past 3 years. Despite COVID, 98 appointment procedures are ongoing still. So here at this juncture, I'd like to thank my appointment teams and the hundreds of commission members for their tireless efforts, because they need to do the interviews, they need to listen to talks, they need to draft expert opinions, and this really ties up a great deal of the resources of our university. This is worthwhile giving them a big hand. Now, by means of the Bavarian top professorship program with the Munich Quantum Valley and BMW Foundation professorship, we actually brought in Austria's professors, Robert Wille from Linz, Peter Raubler and Barbara Kraus. Then Ms. Enkeleda Kosnetschi from Tübingen reinforces our team in the area of educational technologies. Mark Willinger from the ETH reinforces our electron microscopy team, also in the context of the e-conversion cluster of excellence. And Chiara Manfletti is an excellent professor for aerospace. Simon Schäfer from the Salk Institute, Julian Grünewald from the Harvard Medical School, Matthias Hebruck from the University of California in San Francisco will support us in our expansion area organoid systems. And Angela Schöllig actually came to us from Toronto via an Alexander von Humboldt professorship. and Achim Lilienthal from Örebro University. They both strengthen our focus around robotics. And Mariana Rufino from Lancaster University is one of the new appointments in order to expand our agricultural sciences at an international level. We're able to attract such top international talent because our reputation keeps growing, as is evidenced by the most important university rankings. THE and Shanghai unanimously rate TUM as the best university in Germany, making it a triple for the first time also in the renowned THE ranking, which now puts us at number 30 worldwide. And this also is shown by the ERC grants, which have long since become a European currency. For top-level research, we've been able to win 175 grants so far. 11 ERC starting grants and 2 proof-of-concept grants are still pending. I believe this is truly an excellent performance. It's the performance of many of our colleagues. I'd like to thank you all for this success, for being so bold as to get started on these highly competitive programs. You never know whether you're going to win or lose. So this is really worthwhile a round of applause, because this is not something that is to be taken for granted. But nevertheless, we're not basing our strategy for the future on these figures alone, although we're extremely pleased to see those results, because the performance profile of a university needs to continue beyond that. It's about the quality of the education of our lecturers. So we also need to work in clinics, in university hospitals. We need to educate our medical experts. And if you take a look at the innovative capacity of engineers, which is also, but not exclusively, measured in terms of publications, however, also at the interfaces to industrial practice and social relevance. Our responsibility also requires us to be even more agile and dynamic in our positioning, because the world moves fast, and innovation cycles become ever shorter. New challenges are waiting for us. And to this end, we're transforming our faculties into a total of 7 schools. I'd like to show you where we are. We started in 2020 with the establishment of the TUM School of Life Sciences. In 2023, we started with the TUM School of Management, TUM School of Social Sciences and Technology, and the TUM School of Engineering and Design. And this was followed in October 22 by the TUM School of Natural Sciences with Johannes Barth as the Dean, and the TUM School of Computation, Information and Technology with Dean Hans Pungartz at the helm. I'd like to thank you both for taking on this highly responsible and complex task. From October 2023, we're going to see the grand finale follow suit with the TUM School of Medicine and Health. In this way, we combine our expertise in the areas of cancer, cardiovascular and neurological diseases, allergies and immune diseases with personalized preventive approaches and interventions, and on the other hand, also with new digital technologies, because I believe we need to do all we can in order to maintain health for a longer period of time, thus delaying the development of diseases or positively influencing the course of a disease. I believe this is an essential step, especially in view of these times and the exploding costs of our health system. This process of change in ongoing university operations is incredibly complex, and it's enormously demanding for all of us. There are losses due to friction, but there's also an enormous potential for the future. That is why I'd like to thank you all for helping to shape this process, despite all the challenges, be it the pandemic, the huge crisis like the energy crisis, the climate crisis, or the shortage of skilled workers. And if we don't go on, then we're not going to implement all these opportunities. So thank you very much. Now we have to keep going, because then most of this transformation process will be over. Then we're going to be able to do some fine-tuning, and then we're going to enjoy some more relaxed times. To promote integrative systems thinking, we've interwoven these schools with integrative research centers in a matrix-like manner. Here we work in a mission-oriented way, focusing on future subjects. And here you can see the distribution of our professorships across these centers. We've got various transdisciplinary cross-sectional impacts in the fields of biomedical engineering, robotics, machine intelligence, data sciences, bioengineering, and sustainability. And we've newly founded the Munich Institute for Integrated Materials, Energy and Process Engineering, which is led by Klaus Adams, Sonja Behrens-Meyer, and Thomas Hammacher in their roles as directors. And here, this is where we bundle competencies and resources in the areas of 4D materials and additive manufacturing technologies and biological production processes and innovative process engineering. And we support sustainable process design by integrating our competencies in the field of low carbon or carbon neutral energy systems. And we rely on economic translation into the business world through two institutes. It's the TUM Earlycon Advanced Manufacturing Institute and the Bavarian Additive Manufacturing Cluster in order to industrialize metal 3D printing and, on the other hand, to also accelerate biotechnology production systems. At the beginning of 2023, we will launch the Munich Design Institute as a further research center. This will link TUM's scientific excellence with an innovation-oriented design practice across schools and work cultures. And I'd like to thank our Emeriti of Excellence, who actually are able to celebrate their 50-year anniversary. They organized an anniversary event at Hasloch, and like to thank Fritz for his initiative. We'd like to integrate design in our processes, because this plays a very important role, especially with regard to the technical function of systems, but also with regard to the economic and ecological boundary conditions, such as material use, energy efficiency, reusability, and sustainability. Of course, also in terms of interoperability with human users, such as ergonomics aspects or ease of use are coming in here. So in this way, we take up the founding motto of TU Munich again and turn it into a cultural imperative in a modern interpretation. Scientis et artibus. That is why we have two new lighthouse appointments that we've been able to bring about with Annette Diefenthal and Katja Turing. It's the first of a series to come in order to provide us with strength for the future. But these new ideas also need a home. And to this end, we're creating new space with a support from the Bavarian state. Thank you very much, Minister Blume, for placing your trust in our pioneering strength and in our success in continuing to write Bavaria's history. In May, we placed electrical and information engineering in the middle of the force field of our Garching campus. I'd like to thank former Dean Wolfgang Utschig for his commitment, and now we have to work at full speed to implement the second and third building phases, because now microelectronics and semiconductor components are at Garching. But these are spatially separated from chip design, robotics, and mechatronics in a city center. And only if we bring these together in the same space will we be really successful. I don't really want to mention the chip crisis time and again. The dire need for electronic subcomponents is really there, and we need to work in this field in order to remedy the situation. On the 50th year anniversary of the 1972 Olympic Games, we inaugurated the new TUM campus in the Olympic Park. It stands for sustainability, energy efficiency, and accessibility, but it also stands for a place of exchange in teaching, research, and sports. An investment of 170 million almost by the Free State for the Faculty of Sports and Health Sciences and the Central University Sports Centers, Munich, for approximately 17,000 active athletes from all Munich universities. And at the upper right-hand side, you can see the TUM Center for Functional Protein Assemblies. This is where we're bringing excellence in biophysics and biochemistry to a fruitful convergence to decipher the complex protein machineries in biological systems. So we're not just understanding the wheels, but we're actually understanding the whole clock here, so to speak. Complementary to this, we're setting up the new Center for Organoid Systems in the immediate vicinity. And here we're focusing on multicellular organ model systems because we want to find new approaches to better understand organ processes and develop new biomedical innovations from that. I'd like to thank Andreas Bausch and Maximilian Reichert most cordially for pushing this idea forward. And here I'd like to thank again the minister, because we've got the high-tech agenda. 16 million are provided by the Free State, 5 million are provided by TUM Munich, because this subject is so important to us. And with this and other appointments, we're finally bringing medicine to Garching, also supported by the new Heinz Nixdorf endowed professorships. 3.8 million euros for AI-supported organoid development. So that means we're really having medicine now at Garching in this force field of biomedicine and further disciplines. Let me go back here. One, because there's also the Center for Multiple Sclerosis in Neurosciences, which was started 2 days ago, where we turned the first sod. It is financed by the Kere Foundation, the Free State of Bavarian, and the TU Munich. And then there's the new center, which is federally and state funded, a Center for Digital Medicine and Health. So that means we're bringing information science from Garching directly to patients for the first time in order to establish new AI methods, in order to render diagnosis faster and more reliable, which is very important. Also, our TUM campus Heilbronn is growing and thriving. Since its establishment in 2018, the Dieter Schwarz Foundation has funded 31 professorships, initially 20 in the startup phase in the area of business management, then 11 for information science. And now, because they put their trust in us and because they trust us to shape the future, and also this campus, we're going to have another 10 professorships. And this brings the number to a total of 41. So with this, we're strengthening data science and artificial intelligence at Heilbronn. And we're building a bridge to the new AI Innovation Park at Heilbronn, which is not based in Stuttgart or Tübingen, but in Heilbronn, as I said. And we're creating a new TUM Heilbronn Data Science Center in order to build a bridge to Munich. With tandem projects, we'll be linking Heilbronn with the other TUM locations. And we're also going to build a bridge to the best in the world, because we started to build up a global research hub around Heilbronn with Oxford, HEC Paris, Hebrew University of Jerusalem, ETH Zurich, Stanford is about to also join in order to have a wonderful partner network and to increase the international visibility of Heilbronn. And I can only tell you the Dieter Schwarz Foundation truly is a role model for the greatest level of civic responsibility, if you take a look at the dimension of the sheer idea, but also for a smart structural policy approach to the development of the Heilbronn economic region with an international impact. And since this campus is growing, we need more and more professional leaderships. We're going to have a vice president for the TUM campus at Heilbronn in order to have a face to talk to the outside world, because a campus lives and subsists on the integration with the local people. So we've made a new appointment to the position of Vice President for Digitization and IT Systems. I believe with Alexander Brown, our University Council made an excellent choice at the end of last year, because he's driving forward the digitization of administration within TUM Munich to render us fit for the next decade. And with Jean Rubner, we have not been able not only been able to bring back a wonderful physics alumna back to TUM, but also an expert in science communication to university management for global communication and public engagement. In this way, we'd like to have a more effective impact on the public at large and take people on board in the development of innovations as part of our responsibility within society. And we're also taking on new responsibility for sustainability. On the 27th of October, we celebrated our first TUM Sustainability Day at all TUM locations. And at this event, we also gave the starting signal for our TUM Sustainable Future Strategy 2030. It's a community-based, holistic strategy, because well over 3,000 people of this university have been actively involved in the past 15 months in developing the strategy. Thank you very much, because this is only going to work when we team up. The shared dimension will only work if we team up within university. We need to communicate that strongly toward the inside and toward the outside, and we need to have strong global partners. And that is why I'm very happy to have been able to bring in the Imperial TUM Solution Network with Tom Brady in order to strengthen our network there. Now, one example for the sustainability of our community is the Maximilian Graf Montgelas program, which is modeled on the state reformer, the Bavarian state reformer, and we'd like to support employees from administration in strengthening their international competence through stays abroad and exchange formats all over the world. I believe just as international exchange among academics has become the norm, which creates added value, and we need to bring about the same thing for our administration so that the administrative staff can really benefit from the TUM's global network, establishing tenable bridges between their administrative contacts in other scientific institutes, and perhaps also learn other examples of good administrative practice or share ours with them. So far, we've supported 18 fellows. And I believe this is important, and that is why we're doing that, because the administration is not only just an add-on or a kind of support structure for science. Quite on the contrary, I believe it's a vital resource of our overall creative potential within this university, and that is why I'm so happy to see that further fellows have registered for this program, going out into the world in order to bring back new insight and new information and new partnerships, and everyone counts. That is why I'd like to thank you all for your great deal of support every single day, despite the day-to-day challenges. So you keep working together with us on this aspect in order to work and create this special sense of community, belonging, and home. TUM is not just a university. It's a very special feeling that is worthwhile sharing. So let me thank you most cordially. Now I'd like to ask State Minister Markus Blume to share with us his welcome address as a representative of the Ministry of Science.
Die gebe ich Ihnen gleich mit.
So. Ja, meine.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, President, professors, staff members, students, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, dear friends from the Technical University of Munich. The dies Academicus at the Technical University of Munich. Well, it's a very special day, a special feeling, and you just confirmed it, President. It's also my alma mater, although I never studied here. This is something that I managed to do together with Wolfgang Herrmann, because the University of Politics, that was a major feast, was moved from the LMU to the TU. And I never wanted to become an alumnus of this university, but I must tell you, it feels really good, if one can say it. I'm an alumnus from the Technical University of Munich, so thank you for making it possible for me to join this circle. Well, everything is slightly different here, slightly special here, if I may say so. It starts with the entrance area, with the lobby, the foyer. I went to a couple of similar events, but at the Technical University of Munich, to get in, you have to check in electronically. That's what you would expect from a technical university, an electronic check-in. And your merchandising department, Chancellor, is doing a really good job. After the last few events and inaugurations and groundbreaking ceremonies, I have a TUM bag. Looks really great. And since our groundbreaking ceremony, when it was really rainy, I have an umbrella. And now I have this cap with the TUM logo on it. Looks really nice. I'm going to give you a list of what's still missing, a wish list. A tie would be nice, even if nobody wears a tie anymore these days. Well, socks or stockings. Well, I have a couple of ideas of what I could use on my wish list. But thank you for helping me also to join in your efforts to build an identity. But ladies and gentlemen, it's not just that the check-in is working here, and obviously you're really doing a good job as far as merchandising is concerned. But as the president just told us, it's a very special university. And in a Bavarian environment, a landscape of universities which is special anyway. So if you among the first in Bavaria, well, this indicates that throughout Germany and probably throughout Europe, you must have a really special position. And at this point, I would like to just express my thanks and also congratulate you, so that it's not just the Dies Academicus of the Technical University, but it's the Dies Academicus of the best European university here. So congratulations on this, but that's something that not a lot of universities will achieve. And based upon my own experience, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, no university in Bavaria, well, is more challenging, and it's probably was similar for Wolfgang Heubisch. No other university in Bavaria is as challenging as this one, with a combination of being a really nice place to stay, and on the other hand, they know what they expect of you. They tell you what needs they have, and they have special wishes, also in terms of regulations. They actually tell you exactly what they need, and also speed of building operations. I have a long list of what they expect of us. Let me cut it short, ladies and gentlemen. You, ladies and gentlemen, the management of the Technical University of Munich, you are, well, actually urging the Free State of Bavaria to do their utmost. And before the summer vacation in the Bavarian Parliament, the new Bavarian University Innovation Act was adopted, because we need to keep pace with the dynamism of the development here. And we want to make sure that you have a legal framework which is driven by the same spirit, the same mindset, the spirit of innovation, of founding, of well, excellence, agility. This is what we need at our universities, and you actually also very much influenced this new University Innovation Act, and for this, thank you as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one last word of thanks before I move on to the actual topic of today's event. Thank you for all of you, to all of you. Thank you for navigating this university through this phase of incredible challenges over the last 2 or 3 years. Now, indeed, these were not normal years. The COVID crisis and its restrictions, well, fortunately, we almost forgot it, because we have largely returned to normal operations. And together, we also committed ourselves to a winter term which should be normal. But let's not forget that over the last 2 or 3 years, we've gone through quite a lot. So I'm saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who made a contribution here to make sure that this big tanker, this big ship, was navigated very well through the COVID pandemic, that we adopted fast learning curves in areas where a couple of years ago we thought it couldn't be done, like, video conference, video call, or streaming for the lectures at the university. Nowadays, it's become normal procedure. And thank you for never losing your confidence, for just sticking to it, for just carrying on, for identifying new ways and means of how, even under such conditions, you could continue with your teaching. And that's why I'm so really happy that we have a winter term which should be more normal. And let me say it right away, I'm absolutely sure that together we will also manage the challenges of our current day and age very well, above all the energy crisis. Some might have asked themselves, what is it going to mean for our universities? Are you going to sit in a cold, chilly room? Will you have to wear your winter coat while you're listening to a lecture? Now, today, this place, well, the temperature here in this place is quite nice and comfortable. And here, too, I'm really confident. On the one hand, I'm really glad that the federal government has made it entirely clear that for the area that the federal government is responsible for, that there the necessary conditions were created, that we have reasonable compensation. The reduction on energy prices on electricity and gas is to apply for all consumers. And for a long time, it was not clear whether public institutions would be covered by this as well. And this has been clarified now, and that really helps us a lot with all of the institutions and branches that belong to such a big university. And it's also clear that nevertheless, at the end of the day, something will be left. And let me tell you today that our basic mindset here is entirely clear. For all of the institutions which immediately belong to the government or are included in the government services, and that covers university, that they have to try and save energy. But if at the end of the day they get an energy bill which needs to be paid, I can promise to you, certainly any bill that will be presented to the Free State of Bavaria will be paid. So don't worry how you're going to manage through the winter, because together we are going to manage it very well. But now let me address the actual topic. Well, creating a home for the world. Well, I thought this was an invitation to an event by the savings banks, because that's their motto. No, but it's the motto for our TU event this year. And it's a very appropriate motto, President, because you made it entirely clear. The Technical University of Munich, the TUM, is a home to so many people, of course, here in Munich. And it's the very heart and centerpiece of what the university landscape in Munich here has to offer. And above all, it's a heart which is growing all the time. You're moving up to the limit of 50,000 students now, and that means you have caught up with the formerly big sister here in Munich in terms of number of students. So actually, you are on the same level now as the other big university here in Munich. And that means you are providing an incredible educational service to Munich, to the whole state of Bavaria, and beyond that. And you're not doing it by withdrawing to a place within your own walls, shilling yourself off or seeing yourself as a purely Munich or Bavarian university. No, you are growing and thriving everywhere. You do this within Bavaria. So no matter where you go in Bavaria, in many places where you would never expect it, Wolfgang Herrmann at some stage sowed the seed, and it's now starting to grow. And it's continuing all the time. And obviously, he didn't stop at the Bavarian state borders. The constitutional law and university law experts sometimes face unsolvable questions like what kind of university law would apply to a branch in Baden-Württemberg, which is another federal state of Bavaria, and what kind of jurisdiction would apply. But I would like to congratulate you on adopting this path, and thank you for it. Thank you, because in this way you made it possible to progress from a formerly only Munich university to become a kind of global player. We traveled together to the United States, to Boston and New York, and it's so nice to see when you go to other parts of the world that also are blessed with excellent universities, and if you are regarded as equal. And if conversely you can see that it's not always brain drain going in one direction, people leaving Germany, but that actually we now started a flow in both directions. And I'm really happy that with all the new appointments under the high-tech agenda, that you made it really clear this Technical University of Munich provides a home not only to people from Munich and Bavaria, but lots of people from all over the world. 41% international students, 20% professors from countries outside Germany. And if I look at the most recent appointments for the high-tech agenda, the rates are much higher. So the Technical University of Munich, ladies and gentlemen, is our global player. And for this, congratulations. Now, let me return to something fundamental, picking up on your motto of providing a home to the world. Now, this, of course, also means providing a home to the future. And ladies and gentlemen, even if it's very close again to the motto of the German saving banks, providing a home for your future. Now, this is exactly what characterizes the TUM. We live at a day and age when several major sea changes are taking place, major transformations taking place every day. They are not waiting. This transformation does not respect anything. It just goes on. Technological transformation, climate change. Just outside, I was made aware of the fact that the concerns of climate protection must not be neglected at our day and age. No, we need to be particularly committed. Well, certainly we have to do that. And by the way, this is also different from others. At the Technical University of Munich, it's possible to reasonably present these concerns. They're not trying to stick themselves to the ground as a means of protest. So you do it in a reasonable way. But these transformations take place. Ecological transformation, political restructuring of the world. This is a terrible change which is taking place and started with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And also in future, the digital and technological transformations. And for more than 5 or 6 decades, this has been progressing rapidly, but it's now actually rising to the surface with an incredible power of exponential growth. Now, all of these transformations, ladies and gentlemen, if you just let them happen, they're going to work somehow, but they will instill fear, because any kind of new development does not automatically lead to social acceptance, but initially it leads to a lot of question marks. And if you read or check the yearbooks of this university, go back in history, then you find some anecdotes where even in a place where you want to provide a home to the future, create a home for the future, some developments were not noticed immediately. I think in the 20s, a foundation chair for automotive construction was to be established. It was rejected because people said it's not a future-oriented topic. Nobody's interested in it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are still at the very beginnings of the major transformations I just referred to. And who else, if not the universities? And who else? But the Technical University of Munich should then give the right answers to how these major transformations can be well shaped and designed so that they get tailwind and backing and acceptance from society and not headwind. Now, if I look at climate protection, climate mitigation, the major components for all the partial transformations going on, the major building bricks will be designed by you. At the Straubing campus, a lot of progress is being made. A lot of demand exists for the courses of study offered there. And in Weihenstephan, we committed ourselves to doing even more there in the future. Well, I don't want to violate the confidentiality of our budget negotiations, but Mr. Heubisch, we are now submitting our budget to the Bavarian Parliament. So it's not a secret. In Weihenstephan, we are going to do even more because the agricultural revolution or transformation will only work if we have good fundamental knowledge with the right applications. And this is why we want to further expand Weihenstephan and the campus there. Then mobility of the future, ladies and gentlemen. You might say it's just, crazy ideas by people like Elon Musk. So that at some stage we are going to have these hypersonic tubes along which we will travel. I thought it was great that the Technical University of Munich has responded to this challenge, that you won all of the competitions, your teams won all of the competitions that were to be won in these fields on how can you move fast, the Hyperloop, and also on the question of how you can quickly drill a tunnel. Even in this discipline, with some projects in our country, you have the feeling that we are certainly not world champions. When I just think of the track for the commuter trains, and TU Munich are world best for drilling tunnels. And I hope that you can also speed up the construction of our local commuter train and the new line planned for it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this because you might say it's just utopia, it's mad technical ideas. Or you could also see it as building bricks in finding solutions for this major ecological transformation. And the same applies to the other fields. I'm not going to go through all of them individually. Let me just say this. Don't let disruption just happen, but be at the top of disruption, lead a disruption, shape it yourself, and make it happen. So this is what we need to do in all areas. So to conclude, I would like to extend a couple of invitations on further actions and further thoughts. First of all, think more disruptively, because I think that's what we have to do together. And it's actually part of your DNA. And quite honestly, we are really doing quite a good job already. In Germany, we tend to play everything down, and we're trying to then play down our achievements at the TU. At the TU in Munich, you're not that modest and humble, but nevertheless, even here, I must say, collectively and jointly, one is astonished to see how good we already are in some areas. In summer, I went on a fact-finding mission to California, which is our, mental partner country for Bavaria. They always have better weather than here in Bavaria. People are slightly nicer in California. Everything is slightly better in California. So I said, let's go to the big tech companies in California and also to the top universities. I went to Stanford, and there I got an insight into AI and robotics, and I was really astonished to see what kind of robots they're working with. They all come from Bavaria, these robots. All of these are products from the Technical University of Munich. And when an absolute top world-class university, Stanford, working in robotics, if they are not using their own robots, but robots from Professor Hardadin and the Technical University of Munich, then that is a particular proof of excellence, and we can really be proud of it. So, think more disruptively. Well, don't say we've always done it like this. Why should we do it differently? No, push the limits. And then secondly, be more courageous in the Champions League. It's a little bit like the FC Bayern, the Bavarian football club here in Munich. They are top in all of the rankings. That's what you said. So what next? I have a couple of ideas what comes next. 2 excellence clusters for the Technical University of Munich would be very nice. I know that you are very nicely positioned. You know the deadline for applications in early summer of next year. You are going to get every support from the Free State of Bavaria, just like all the other Bavarian universities. And together we've already been quite successful. I hope I'm not going to give away a secret, but as far as research buildings are concerned, we always did a great job. And we have a couple of really exciting projects coming up, and they will help us even improve our excellence. I don't want to raise the bar too much, but I'm sure there's still room for more. And the way there is basically the destination. You are really good. You are at the very top, but if you want to stay at the top, you have to take an extra effort. This is why we have the high-tech agenda. I don't need to advertise it here to you, because you know that you received more than 80 professorships, but you know, and that's the difference, once again, inspired by proposals by the opposition or inquiries from the opposition. I looked at what level we have reached executing our high-tech agenda, and that's also internal business of our ministry. In a world of autonomous universities, it does not mean automatically that every appointment and every data point arrives on your desk. So that's our new world, very decentralized decision-making, and that also means very decentralized data points. And then it takes you a while to get comparable data. And then I was not at all surprised to see that the Technical University of Munich, by a very wide margin, is at the very top when it comes to speed of appointments. Out of the 80 professors, 59 have now been filled. So actually 75% have been filled of these appointments, and that is an absolute top value in Bavaria. So it means you're not only asking for a new post at the ministry, but you also fill these posts with excellent people, and that's a particular achievement as well, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, this is why you're going to get a few more. I can tell you this, because I know what we plan for the year 23. In Weihenstephan, this will be further expanded, and the aerospace faculty will be further expanded. So there, this is something we have committed ourselves together to, and we're going to progress with it. And robotics and artificial intelligence will also be further expanded, whether it's Garmisch, Partenkirchen, geriatronics, lots of good projects that need to be funded, but I know that the money that we give you is a good investment. And to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, here you have to help me a little bit. We need more TUM spirit in the whole country, if I may say so. In many areas, you've been a role model. You set the example for years, for decades. When others were still deliberating about foundation and startups and similar things, you did it, and you showed how it should be done with the CDDM, with entrepreneurship, with the co-lab institutions, with the venture labs. You created an ecosystem which is autonomous. It supports itself, not only financially. And it's so appealing and attractive that it can continue to grow on its own strength. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this success and others must be duplicated in Bavaria. I can see that the president of the Technical University of Nuremberg is here. Well, it's nice to have you here today. You have to learn from the winners. That's the right attitude. Now, you are still at, starting up this course of development, so use the Technical University of Munich as a kind of orientation, and maybe it won't take you 150 years of history to get there, a bit shorter. So then also in Nuremberg, an incredibly strong technical university could then exist. In terms of the creativeness of finding the colors for your logo, you've done a great job. It's a great green and yellow logo. It's something that's hard to print, but it's really quite fancy and a great logo. That's something where you've shown a lot of creativeness, and it's great to have you here today. But ladies and gentlemen, please help us so that more of this spirit, of this momentum, agility, excellence, innovation, that all of this can be spread throughout the Free State of Bavaria. We need it. We need you. And with this, I would like to conclude by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who keeps making this success history possible. And since I thanked everyone, but apart from one group, so let me say this. The commitment of the citizens here, the supporters, the sponsors, the founders, that they have done so much for this university, commit themselves to this university is a special proof of trust and also a special commitment to the future. This success would not be possible without the Free State of Bavaria, that's clear, but this kind of success would not be possible if we didn't have so many citizens supporting us. So thank you to everyone who helped to make the success story of TU Munich possible and will continue to write it in the year 23 together with us.
I'm Ukrainian. I came from Ivano-Frankivsk, the city in the west of Ukraine. The reason that drives me to accept all the challenges are two my little daughters, who helped me to grow up and never give up.
The war has stolen my dreams, my plans, and my life. At the same time, I got something new. I have discovered myself as a stronger person who can resist. Here in Germany, I speak not only on behalf of myself as a researcher, but on behalf of all Ukrainian women who are affected by the war.
I'm proud to be Ukrainian. I'm proud of all who defend our country, our value, our sky, and our truth. We are grateful to all who stand with us, and together we can do our best for our common bright future.
Based on my experience of collaborative research in TUM, I can say that Ukrainian scientists who were first to move to Germany due to the situation in the Ukraine, they don't just continue their research here. Collaborative research has opened up new opportunities and horizons to us, and I'm confident that these new opportunities and their implementation will significantly strengthen, expand, and develop the German-Ukrainian academic and research cooperation.
Das ist meine erste Rede auf Deutsch. Wir müssen Deutschland und den Deutschen sehr danken, dass wir hier sein können. Wir sind sehr zufrieden mit eurer Gastfreundschaft, Freundlichkeit, Geduld und Großzügigkeit. Die Ukraine ist eine kluge Nation. Die Ukraine ist eine starke Nation. Wir werden zusammen gewinnen. Ein Hoch auf Deutschland, ein Hoch auf die Ukraine.
What do science and children have in common? This is the future. Staying at TUM gives an opportunity not to put life on pause and to continue actively living, studying, and making science.
Thank you, TUM!
In Greek we say "topoie patris." So that was said by Cicero, a Roman first, and it means home is where you feel well, where you feel at home. And by the way, I can only confirm that. War, however, is never good, it's never justified, but I prefer to be optimistic, and I try to turn even something that is bad into something that is good. So it's nice to see that the tragedy in Ukraine creates nevertheless opportunities for growth. That's very important, because we all prepare for the day after when we can help and will help for rebuilding Ukraine. As we've just seen, TUM actually has given a new academic home to a whole series of researchers from Ukraine. We're grateful to all those who made this possible, starting with the idea through to leading the project, preparing the framework, providing the funds, right through to the administration of the program. Cooperation is going deep, and it's substantial, and it's beneficial to both sides. Based on the results obtained so far with Professor Yamnenko, dear Julia, I'm convinced that this will also be the basis for a medium and long-frist cooperation at personal, institutional, and international level. These cooperation projects are going to grow, and they're going to provide many interesting results long after this war is over. As many others, we fled Ukraine, and we didn't know where we would end up. Thank God we landed in Munich, here at TUM. I'm very grateful for TUM, not just to support me and my family, but it's become a true home for me. So that is a great honor. Thank you very much. President Hofmann, fellow students, members of the university family, this morning's motto is creating home for the world, creating home and living diversity. What do you think of when you think of home? For me, home is two things. It's feelings and places. The feeling of being among people that I know and love. Irrespective of whether we're talking about a Sunday walk with my family or an outdoors barbecue with my friends. The feeling of walking through the city park, which I've experienced in so many colors and seasons. The feeling of security, and the places and the moments that accompanied and shaped me. This path through this particular park that I crossed on my way to school every single day, the fire station where I spent so much time during my time in the youth fire brigade, or the Danube bridges at Budapest, over which I used to travel to my grandmother, or the living room where I used to sit around the fireplace with my family. All the memories that link these feelings and places, this is home for me. But in the meantime, TUM also has become part of my home. The Studitum buildings, where I study excitedly before exams, the courtyard out there where I celebrate with fellow students after passing exams, or the office of the Student Representative Council, where I'm working on improving the study conditions at TUM. They've all become good friends of mine. Or this very Audimax hall, where I have come very often and already listened to countless exciting and sometimes challenging lectures. I'm grateful to have found a home here at TUM, but also here in Munich. But in order to find an intellectual home here at TUM, students first have to find a home in Munich. And unfortunately, that is not easy, as you may know. Across Germany, almost half of all students hoping for a place in a hall of residence or students' hostel are on the waiting list of the Munich Student Union. 15,000 students are waiting for a little piece of home in our city. For many people, a shared flat is no longer an alternative. With an average of 642 euros per month for an average room in a shared flat, Munich holds a sad record in terms of student housing. And with a government grant maximum rate of just over 800 euros, which fewer and fewer students, around 12%, receive, this means that only 150 euros are left for food, public transport, books, university materials, and some leisure time activities. You don't have to study any math in order to see that this doesn't add up at all. But it should. The fact that, according to the latest data from the German Federal Statistical Office, almost 40% of students are at risk of poverty is only a shameful consequence of this precarious starting situation. Education should never be a privilege of the socially strong. We all know that Munich is not an easy place for those who look for a place of residence. But when I researched the specific figures when preparing for the speech, I was struck by the deep sense of hopelessness and resignation. How are we going to attract the best minds and talents and offer them an intellectual home if we can't even manage to provide them with an affordable and livable little piece of home here in Munich? The hopeless faces of students who desperately drop by the office of the student representation and ask for a roof over their heads keep popping up in my mind. Do you know how difficult it is to have to convey to them that unfortunately we can't do more than just keep our eyes and ears open? Do you know how hard it is to send these people away without really being able to help them? Knowing that in a few days or weeks, they may no longer have a roof over their heads, which means that they will have to end their studies here in Munich. Nevertheless, there also has been some progress in the area of student housing. Fortunately enough, the Free State of Bavaria has stepped in with 70 million euros for the refurbishing of the vacant halls of residence in the student city. Thank you very much for your commitment to this, Minister Blume. This will make 1,000 student residence places habitable again. If we are optimistic, however, with this, we're only going to reach the status quo of 2020 in 5 years' time. In view of the post-starting situation and the continuing increase in student numbers, this is far too little. We need more student housing, and not just tomorrow. Actually, we would have needed it yesterday. But still, it's never too late to start and get going and get this off the ground. At the end of the 1950s, rectors and professors joined forces with the then managing director of the Studentenwerk Munich, and with the support of the Free State of Bavaria, they developed and built today's student city, Studentenstadt. Now, 70 years down the road, I think it's time to urgently get together again and talk about this. We need a strong new coalition of colleges and universities with all their status groups, stakeholders, the Studentenwerk, the cities of Munich and Garching, and all further TUM sites, and the Free State of Bavaria. As far as I'm concerned, I believe this constellation will help us to achieve a lot. And Minister Blume, wouldn't you like to become immortal with a Markus Blume house at Student City? Now, if we really team up, we can offer further thousands more students and young academics a home where they feel at home spiritually, intellectually, but also a home where they have a bed to sleep in and a flat to live in. A home worth living in. Because a colorful diversity has always emerged and has always been seen in the halls of residence in Munich. A diversity of languages and cultures from Munich, Krakow, New Delhi, a diversity of family backgrounds, a diversity of talents, interests, and gifts have come together. And this diversity should be and is carried and lived out in our university family. This is what makes such a fruitful and colorful academic discourse and exchange of opinions possible in the first place, and creates space and opportunities for forward-looking results. From my studies in political science, I know all the more how interesting and exciting, sometimes even challenging, it is to be faced with other worldviews or realities of life. But then it's all the more interesting to discuss them at eye level. That is why it's also so important to live out, to preserve, and to protect this diversity. We must ensure that students from the most diverse corners of the world have the opportunity to find a home with us, irrespective of the financial situation of their families. The tuition fees for foreigners outside the EU, which will now become possible with the new Bavarian University Innovation Act, might become a hurdle for many outstanding talents, but we must not allow such hurdles to be put in their way. If TUM wants to introduce tuition fees, we must guarantee that a true diversity of students will be maintained. There must be separate scholarships so that all those who are distinguished by outstanding talents and abilities but cannot afford paying tuition fees are also given the opportunity to join us and contribute to our diverse TUM family. But diversity can not only be created and lived out on a scale ranging from national to international. Diversity means so much more. If we look, for example, at the proportion of women at TUM, there is still room for improvement. Among students, roughly 36% are female, and the proportion of women among professors is only 20%. Even in a cascade medal envisaged by the new University Innovation Act here in Bavaria, there's ample room for improvement. We must continue to work on removing structural and procedural hurdles. And after yesterday's Senate meeting, I believe we're going to see some progress soon. But also each and every one of us personally can contribute to financially clearing up cliches and prejudices. If we adopt an open-minded attitude towards all genders and all nationalities, towards other ways of thinking and other ideas in our day-to-day lives, we will contribute significantly to creating a colorful, diverse university and ultimately society, so that we can offer home to everyone, a diverse home to everyone. But home must not just be created and lived out. No. We also must preserve and maintain those, because the climate crisis is no longer just an abstract threat somewhere else in the world. It's actually arrived at our doorstep. Many of our generation feel powerless in the face of this challenge, left alone by politicians and the society, and above all, not taken seriously in our worries and fears for the future. Many are also thinking, why should I learn or study at all? Because in a few decades we won't have a livable environment or any livelihood whatsoever anyway. So for me, it is clear. Each and every one of us must take on responsibility and challenge our own actions, our own habits, no matter whether individuals, companies, municipalities, or social actors. It makes me all the more proud, as I just presented or was just presented, that TUM is facing up to this responsibility and is taking the lead with the TUM Sustainable Future Strategy 2030 in order to complete the transformation to a climate-neutral university ASAP. About a month ago, the strategy was presented on this very stage. I have to say, I think the strategy is ambitious, but it is feasible, and it is urgently required for us to roll it out. From the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, TUM has identified 4 basic principles and 6 focus areas that we as a university are particularly well placed to achieve. And together, as a university, we can really achieve these goals. I would like to encourage all of you here today to continue on this path with zest and vigor. The commitment of each and every one of you counts. Even after the current energy crisis, you can switch off the light when you leave the office. And even after the energy crisis, you can think about whether it's really got to be those cozy 23 degrees C, or whether 20 or 21 degrees C won't be easily enough to not feel cold. Because we just started the first kilometer of a marathon run in a highly motivated fashion, but we still have 39 more kilometers to go. We have to use this motivation and start implementing the goals of the sustainability strategy now. And why all this? Quite simple. For a future worth living, for a sustainable home. Even though we are currently living in challenging and turbulent times, we can all make a contribution to living out diversity at our university and creating a home through our commitment, our prudence, and our behavior, be it through our personal commitment or our political and university policy-related commitment. If we team up, we can create a home for everyone. Only together we can manage the challenges and use the opportunities that are ahead and create a home for everyone from our university family here. Now let me round off my thoughts with a quote from the German-Hungarian pianist Franz Liszt. Without imagination, there is no art, no science, and also no criticism. I wish all of us here enough imagination so that we can create a livable, diverse, and sustainable university with art, with science, and with constructive and uplifting criticism. A spiritual or intellectual home. Thank you very much.
Ja,
Mr. Vadasz, thank you very much. Once again, shows you what excellent students we have here. We are really proud. And now it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our keynote speaker today. It's one of the most important contemporary architects and artists, master builders, and professor at the Technical University of Munich of Architectural Design and Participation, Francis Kere. And we are going to see this in a moment. Now, if we look at his works of art, I would call them works of art, then we are talking about iconic architecture, which in a very special way, and that's what he stands for, combines traditional building materials with the latest engineering technology, sustainability and social commitment. He received many awards. I'm just going to mention the two most recent and most important ones. The Thomas Jefferson Foundation Medal in Architecture. He received it last year. And this year he received the Pritzker Prize. And for those of you who don't know the Pritzker Prize, it's enough if you know that it is equivalent to the Nobel Prize in other disciplines or the Fields Medal in mathematics. So really the highest awards, and we are really happy to have you here today, Francis.
Herr Präsident.
President, thank you for the invitation. Well, David, actually, I would like to speak just like you spoke. Just say, thank you, really, thank you. I once saw a program, a broadcast, and I heard the Bavarian minister-president, and I thought he was a very powerful person, and he admitted that his hands were tied, that he does not have the potential to create living space, residential space, because there were so many obstacles put in his way. And I was shocked. So David, if we really join forces, then we will definitely master this situation. We have a minister here and a president, and they are really committed people. They are doing great jobs and have a great team. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really proud to be part of this family. Ladies and gentlemen, dear members of the TUM family, it is a great honor for me to speak to you today at the Dies Academicus. And this is my second time as a speaker at this event. But the first time, the last time, I had the opportunity to do so, our world was a completely different one. The word corona, or COVID-19 for short, was not known to anyone. Nobody had heard about it before. There was peace in Europe. There was no hail of bombs forcing hundreds of thousands of people to flee Ukraine. Notions of home, refuge, or sanctuary, safe place, are threatened or destroyed by such events, man-made disasters, and they have to be newly sorted, newly defined. And these are incidents and disasters, catastrophes that remind us that things that once seemed unimaginable suddenly dominate everyday life. But human history is like that, unfortunately. It's a string of many unknown events. Events beyond our control that overwhelm us and turn into new realities and finally become part of our lives. COVID has changed our life. The war in Ukraine is also going to have a long-term effect. It's going to have lead to a long-term change in our lives. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in view of the hundreds of thousands of people suffering in Ukraine, it is really difficult for me to talk about any other subject. But in the spirit of the cobbler who sticks to his last, I would like to talk about another unknown factor, because this is where I feel at home. This is my home, and it's Africa. The great unknown neighbor of Europe. It is so close to Europe, and yet it's so far away in terms of our understanding. And this is what I would like to talk about, this great unknown. And above all, I would like to talk about the small things, the small steps that I have already taken as a student to create a piece of safe home. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me first of all ask you, what is Africa? Is it a country, a fantasy, an idea? It's a cake that was divided up in Europe, or more precisely in Berlin, approximately 150 years ago. It's working, yes. So first of all, let's take a look at the geography of Africa. It's a big continent. More than 30 million square kilometers of surface. You know, I don't want to bore you with figures and statistics, but take a look. This is China superimposed on Africa. A lot of people talk about China compared to the size of Africa. But the currently most important powers in the world, the powerful nations in the world fit into Africa, and there's still space left for Japan. India, the country with the biggest population on our planet, and Mexico, they all fit into Africa. And there's space left. We can also fit Iceland into the continent, and Switzerland. Per capita, they are the richest country in Europe. And France, with its strong military presence there, and still they are surprised by nobody loves them there. And we have place for Bella Italia as well, and Spain, with whom we just had a tie in the football match at the World Championship. But there's still space left for Great Britain, the United Kingdom, which is desiring its old grandeur and just left the European Union, and Ireland and Germany. They all fit into it. Germany, my home, my intellectual home, also fits into the continent. And, you know, Germany, well, in terms of its surface, 85 Germanys would fit into the continent of Africa. 85. Now, Africa has a large population. Many are afraid of this. You don't need to be afraid. Just take a look. China would fit into it more than 3 times, and this is the population of China, 1.4 billion. Africa is a rich continent with a large potential, lots of opportunities. Today, Africa is an object of content, of people battling, struggling for who it belongs to, which economic power. Is it the United States that it should belong to with their allies, or is it China, southern part of China? Well, I'm not an expert on this. I was born in Africa, in Burkina Faso, to be more precise. And I was one of these young guys who actually looked up to Germany. I looked up to Europe. I admired Germany and Europe. And at some stage, I got a scholarship. I came to Germany. The land of plenty, the land of milk and honey. I must admit, I like to enjoy a currywurst in Berlin. But I also very much enjoy white sausages, Weißwürste in Munich, with a little bit of Weissbier to accompany those Weißwürste whenever I have the opportunity. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the reason why Germany was a paradise for me. No, it was the access to education. For millions of Africans, this will forever remain a dream. I came to Germany, and even as a student, I convinced the people in my village that if the village is to develop, then it should rely on what is most plentiful there in the village, what is available, namely the people there and the locally available materials. And this is what I used. And together with the local people, I built this school, made of clay and iron to reinforce it, and corrugated sheet metal with the help of the local population. And it was very important for me that the people involved in this should acquire new knowledge so that later on they would on their own be able to build similar structures. That was very important to me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, dear TUM family, the school which you see here was recently chosen as one of the 21 most important buildings on the planet. So it actually got this accolade, built by somebody who was fortunate enough to enjoy the education system in Germany, to benefit from it. And that's not all. In Burkina Faso, with a team that I trained, we then created many, many buildings. Here you can see the hospital, and we have the high school, the lycée. We have university in Kodougou. All of these were built by people whom I trained. By now, together with my team, I went beyond the borders of Burkina Faso. We go to many places in Africa where we build projects and we enrich countries with great buildings and structures. And I, myself, I can do more than that. I am allowed to actually go to other continents and build there. This is the Serpentine Pavilion in London. And this is something that attracted a lot of attention. Or in Montana, a pavilion made entirely out of wood. And in the United States, it's something that a lot of people are now talking about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I started with very little experience when I constructed my first buildings, but nowadays I am entrusted with major building tasks for really large buildings, buildings that create an identity for an entire nation. What you see here is the Parliament House in Benin. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't want to bore you. I just wanted to tell you how important education is, to what education can actually enable and empower you, and how many ways you can benefit from education. So I started as a young student with little experience, and now I have this strong team in Burkina Faso, and I created jobs for these people. And safety, I offer them, or I put them into a position where they now can look forward to a secure future. And believe me, these people who have been working with me for more than 20 years would never, ever set out on the adventurous journey and ever try to board a boat in the direction of Europe. And why should they do it? Why? If they can stay at home with their families and earn money, then you don't need to leave your country. So, dear TUM family, I hope that with my short speech I succeeded in showing you that if you are committed, then you can make a contribution. You can contribute to creating a better future for people. Thank you for your attention.
Just a word you send me makes me clear my thoughts and start to dream. Had no reason to smile, then I look at my screen and everything changed suddenly. You reach my heart by only spending a minute of your day thinking about me, as I always think of you. And everything starts to shift the second I see you on my screen, even though it's no more than a single word. It's all just one word from you. It's all I need to see. No more make-believe. It's easy to conceive. This word is what it comes down to now. It's all just one word from you. It's all I need to see. No more make-believe. It's easy to conceive. This word is what it comes down to now. Just a word you send me makes me clear my thoughts and start to dream.
Eine wirklich
A wonderful, captivating voice, truly. I mean, we have honored numerous people this year that have committed to TUM Munich, but we cannot invite them all to stay to the stage here, because then this would go on for 2 or 3 or even more hours. And that is why we summarized the highlights in a short video. Let's roll the clip.
Preise sind immer eine Motivation. Für die beteiligten Teams ist das natürlich auch ein Zeichen. Eure Arbeit wird gesehen und motiviert natürlich auch zum Weitermachen.
Die Auszeichnung des Johannes B. Ortner-Preises ist eine ganz besondere, weil der Stifter ein ganz besonderer ist. Er ist ein Alumni dieser Universität und hat es dank der guten Ausbildung zum Wohlstand gebracht. Und ich finde es ganz toll, dass er einen Teil dieses Wohlstandes ausgibt für die Wissenschaftsförderung, für die jungen Talente.
Also Anerkennung ist ja immer ein wichtiger Teil vom Arbeitsleben. Und diese besondere Anerkennung hat mich schon sehr motiviert, ja.
Fällt tatsächlich immer ein bisschen schwer, so selbst stolz drauf zu sein, was man so gemacht hat. Und da hilft so ein Event schon auch, dass man auch nochmal reflektiert und sieht, okay, das wird auch wertgeschätzt, ja.
Ich nehme definitiv mit, dass man auch als Masterstudent, Studentin schon Sachen herausfinden kann, die irgendwie von Relevanz sind und wo man irgendwie nicht das Gefühl hat, dass man nur für sich selber studiert.
Diese Auszeichnung bedeutet mir viel, sehr viel sogar, weil hier hat alles angefangen.
And for me, it's actually kind of personally a homecoming of a city that I last spent time in decades ago. So it's on multiple levels. It's just a wonderful honor and it's a real privilege.
Mein Erfolg und mein Wissen ist von Technischer Universität München und ich bin sehr glücklich, dass ich hier studiert habe.
Das ist eine Auszeichnung, über die ich mich ganz besonders gefreut habe, weil es eigentlich nichts Schöneres gibt, als dass die Leute, mit denen man jeden Tag zusammenarbeitet, zufrieden mit der Arbeit sind.
And I think it's a great opportunity to promote science. So I'm really honored and pleased to receive the award.
I feel like I'm coming back to graduate student and I'm so excited with this.
Und nun dürfen wir.
And now we can honor more bold future thinkers and creative minds. Juliane Winkelmann is going to award the Heinz Maier-Leibnitz-Medal. Then Professor Nicola Broix is going to present the TUM Entrepreneur of Excellence Award, and the TUM Sustainability Award will be presented by Gerhard Kramer. Juliane, the floor is yours now.
See the vast number of stars in our galaxy and also the many galaxies, like billions. It really humbles us to know that, we're just a tiny part.
Ein wichtiger Punkt unserer Forschung ist die Zuverlässigkeit von maschinellen Lernmethoden. Das heißt, wir möchten sicherstellen, dass in kritischen Anwendungen wie autonomem Fahren oder personalisierte Medizin die Maschinen richtige Entscheidungen treffen.
Through our observations using the world-class telescopes that we have, we can really try to understand where we come from, why are we here. These are kind of the big questions that we are trying to understand how our universe is evolving. It was a very pleasant surprise, actually, when I received the news from the president, and I was very overjoyed to get this award.
Also das Kernforschungsgebiet unserer Gruppe ist maschinelles Lernen. Das heißt, wir entwickeln Methoden, die es Computern ermöglichen, von Daten zu lernen und darauf aufbauend automatisch Entscheidungen zu treffen. Und dafür entwickeln wir entsprechend Methoden, die die Zuverlässigkeit überprüfen oder die Zuverlässigkeit verbessern oder sogar zertifizieren. Die Verleihung der Heinz Maier-Leibnitz-Medaille macht mich sehr stolz. Sie zeigt einerseits, dass die Forschung, die wir bei uns am Lehrstuhl treiben, hochgradig relevant ist, aber andererseits auch die Arbeit, die ich als Direktor des Munich Data Science Institutes für die TUM im Gesamten einen großen Einfluss hat.
Ja, meine Damen und
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Heinz Maier-Leibnitz-Medal is the highest scientific award that is bestowed by TUM on special achievers working at our university. The award is named after the pioneer of German neutron physics and one of the university's most important scientists, Heinz Maier-Leibnitz, back in 1957, developed the scientific and technical concept for the first German neutron source at Garching. Professor Sherry Shuyu, a Max Planck at TUM professor, holds the chair of observational cosmology at TUM. With this award, we recognize her meritorious work in astronomy. Together with an international astrophysics team, she's found a new way to calculate the Hubble constant that is completely independent of all previous methods. For this, she has received great recognition in the international scientific community and contributed to the reputation of our university. So let us recognize your efforts and congratulate you on the award of this medal. Dear Sherry.
Once more, a big applause.
Ja, sehr geehrte.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and now our next award winner is joining us live from the United States. Hello, welcome, Professor Stefan Günnemann. Professor Günnemann works at the TUM School of Computation, Information and Technology, and he receives the Heinz Maier-Leibnitz-Medal for his outstanding achievements in the field of machine learning and data analysis. As the spokesperson of the Konrad Zuse School of Excellence in Reliable Artificial Intelligence and as the director of the TUM Munich Data Science Institute, he also makes an important contribution to promoting young researchers and to the social and political inclusion of AI in critical application areas. Congratulations, Professor Günnemann. So all the best to the United States. Well, we cannot hear you. So that's the technical side to the Technical University event, but nevertheless great to be able to see you. So once again, let us give him a big hand. Thank you very much.
Dear President Hofmann, colleagues, students, and guests, it is a great honor for me to be here to receive the Heinz Maier-Leibnitz-Medal. I was wonderfully surprised and delighted when I received the news from President Hofmann informing me of the medal. I'm truly grateful for the recognition and also the support from the President and TUM, especially the support from my colleagues at the Department of Physics and the newly founded TUM School of Natural Sciences, where I'm based. I would like to give my special thanks to Eiichiro Komatsu, director of the Max Planck Institute for Astrophysics, who recruited me to Munich and who has been extremely supportive in the past years. It was Eiichiro who encouraged me to apply for the Max Planck at TUM program that brought me to Munich. This novel program has Max Planck research group leaders jointly appointed at TUM as tenure-track professors with the possibility of getting tenure after the Max Planck research group ends. I was very fortunate to be one of the first cohort of Max Planck at TUM professors. Being the first comes with the excitement of shaping a new program, but also the uncertainties of the unknown, which can be vexing. In a sense, I was like a guinea pig in a giant experiment. Fortunately, an innovative experiment of TUM and the Max Planck Society that has turned out to be a great success. This program has enabled me to forge strong research programs in astrophysics and cosmology at both institutions. It has also allowed me to connect closely with our students at TUM. Having worked in North America, Europe, and Asia with students from different parts of the world, I can attest that our students at TUM are really top flight. It is such a joy for me to work with our students, see them excel in research, and compete successfully against other world-class research teams. The research achievements of our group are certainly a team effort, and I'm grateful to all the postdocs and students in our group who not only work well together, but are having fun while doing it. Okay, maybe not so much fun in those final moments of squeezing out those last sentences for the thesis before the deadline, but we make sure to have fun at other times. I feel extremely privileged to work with such bright and talented people on a daily basis as we marvel about the mysteries of our universe using the spectacular effect of gravitational lensing, the bending of light by gravity. To close, I would like to thank my dear family and friends for their unwavering love and support. Thank you, President Hofmann, for the prestigious medal, and everyone for your attention.
Ich höre gerade, Herr Günnemann war.
I'm just being told that Mr. Günnemann was muted. I mean, we're all aware of how this works in the times of Zoom conferences. Mr. Günnemann, Professor Günnemann, can you hear us now? Can you share with us some comments? Yeah, I can hear you. Hope you can hear me. Yeah. Can you hear me all right? Okay, great. So, great. I was unmuted, basically, but still. But I don't know where the mistake was, because being an IT person, I know how to unmute myself. And now he's frozen, so we've also got this. So we're all well aware of what is happening. Now, let me just say thank you for awarding the medal. I'm very sorry to not be able there in person because I'm representing TUM at a conference in New Orleans. It would have been an honor for me to really thank the entire family for the trust you placed in me. Thank you very much, Mr. Günnemann. So enjoy the rest of the program, says Professor Günnemann. So we're going to send you the best wishes from TUM across the big pond. So do come back safe and sound, and all the best once again.
Ein wahnsinniges Stolzgefühl einfach, was man da hat. Hi, mein Name ist Katharina Kreitz, ich bin Gründerin und CEO der Firma Vectoflow. Ich habe das vor fast 8 Jahren jetzt mit meinem Mitgründer, dem Christian Heigermoser, zusammen gegründet und wir stellen aerodynamische Messtechnik her. Dadurch, dass Effizienz immer wichtiger wird, gibt es immer mehr Anwendungen, quasi wo irgendwas strömt, wo ich was verbessern muss. Wir waren dann anfangs primär im Automotive und mittlerweile sind wir eigentlich in allen Triebwerksfirmen quasi fester Bestandteil von deren Instrumentierung. Ich werde jedes Mal überrascht von Kundenanfragen. Das geht über Dunstabzugshauben, über wir instrumentieren gerade eine Milchpulveranlage. Da geht einfach sehr, sehr viel und es wird immer mehr. Meine Tipps für junge Startups wären, grundsätzlich ist es mehr Arbeiten, als man vielleicht davor denkt. Und das Zweite ist, man sollte sein soziales Umfeld oder auch seine Hobbys oder Sachen, die man auch so Nebenberuf hat, sollte man nicht, also man kann sie mal ein bisschen nach hinten schieben, aber man sollte das nicht für lange machen. Und grundsätzlich sollte man den Austausch suchen mit sehr vielen Leuten, dass man einfach auch viel Input einfach von anderen Leuten kriegt und auch vielleicht Tipps.
Minister, President, guests, friends. For me, as the entrepreneurship professor, it is a very special pleasure to be here, to be involved in the award of the Entrepreneur of Excellence Award. Why is that? This is very special for us because on the one hand, you have the technical expertise that needs to go hand in hand with entrepreneurial thinking. So what we bring together is innovative technologies, but also this entrepreneurial spirit, this pioneering spirit, the TUM spirit that has been referred to so often before. So we use this in order to resolve big problems and revolutionize industries. When I'm taking a look at the various areas, and if I were to pick one person to perfectly embody these two areas, then Katharina, then I would pick you. Katharina studied mechanical engineering at our chair. She worked for NASA, Lufthansa, for BMW, gathering hands-on experience, but she also did an MBA at the Collège des Ingénieurs. She also kept educating herself as an entrepreneur, and then together with her co-founder, she founded Vectorflow that we were able to see in the video. But why is Katharina such a good award winner? It's not just the entrepreneurial success that is there. It's not just the skills that I just mentioned. But Katharina is so much more. She's a role model. She's a team player. She's a mentor. And for our entrepreneurial talents, she's there for them to pass on her knowledge. And this means that she makes yet another contribution to further growing our entrepreneurship ecosystem. Katharina, we've got the perfect award winner in you. So all the best and congratulations on my own personal behalf.
Mein Name ist Werner Lang, ich leite den Lehrstuhl für energieeffizientes und nachhaltiges Planen und Bauen hier an der Technischen Universität München. Wir versuchen den Studierenden beizubringen, wie man positiv baut. Mich freut es natürlich unheimlich, mich freut es für unser Team. Wir sind ja doch mittlerweile weit über 20 Leute hier am Lehrstuhl, die gemeinsam an einem Strang ziehen. Und ich sehe den Award vor allem eben eine Wertschätzung unserer gemeinsamen Arbeit hier an der Technischen Universität München. Wir sind Mittäter. Wir verbrauchen etwa 40% der fossilen Brennstoffe. Damit haben wir auch einen ziemlich hohen Anteil an fossilen CO2-Ausstößen, die wir verursachen. Und da müssen wir dran gehen. Also wir sind verantwortlich, wir haben die Chance, wir haben die Potenziale und die müssen wir nutzen. Wir haben einen ziemlich umfassenden Ansatz, was Nachhaltigkeit anbelangt. Wir betrachten schwerpunktmäßig ökologische Faktoren, aber vermehrt natürlich auch ökonomische Faktoren. Nachhaltigkeit muss leistbar sein, zusätzlich um soziokulturelle Faktoren. Also wir müssen die Gesellschaft mitnehmen, wir müssen den Nutzer mitnehmen. Ich denke, was wir vor allem versuchen, neben den Lösungsansätzen tatsächlich nachhaltig bauen zu können, dass es eine wirkliche Chance darstellt, mit seinem Leben was anzufangen, positiv beizutragen. Und das ist, glaube ich, das Wichtigste, junge Menschen zu begeistern, dass sie etwas Gutes tun und Gutes tun können vor allem.
The University President's Office, with the TUM Sustainability Award in 2019, has created a Research and Technology Award that honors the technical innovations and approaches to solutions in the fight against climate change and for a more sustainable world. The award is endowed with a total amount of 10,000 euros in order to support research. This year, we're honoring Werner Lang with the TUM Sustainability Award. Professor Lang is a member of the TUM School of Engineering and Design, and he works on energy-efficient and sustainable planning and design and construction. He receives this award for his achievements in the field of optimizing the building envelope in ecological, functional, constructive, and design-related terms. Through his research, he has made an important contribution to minimizing the need for fossil fuels. Congratulations to you, Professor Lang.
Ja, sehr geehrte
State Minister Blume, I really liked your talk. Thank you very much for your contribution. You give us courage to continue and do even more. Mr. President, we actually had to work together a great deal within the framework of the Sustainability Task Force for our campus. We're making progress. Colleagues, students, guests in the Audimax and sitting in front of your computers. I'm very, very glad, and I'm overjoyed to thank you for the winning of the Sustainability Award. It's not just for me alone, it's for the entire team. You might have heard the team clapping their hands at the top of this lecture hall. I would like to thank my team members at the chair at this university and the colleagues at TUM School of Engineering and Design, but also from other departments, because they provide us with their support. Let me also thank personally the Federal Industriation, or the Bavarian Industriation of the Bavarian construction industry, who actually support us. Basically, it was a chair endowed by your association for the first 5 years, then it was taken over by the Free State. Thank you very much for your support. Without it, I wouldn't be here. And I would also like to thank my colleagues for their knowledge, and I'd like to thank my wife for supporting me over the past 43 years. Thank you very much. For us, the award is an honor, it's an incentive, and a responsibility all rolled into one. And it will incentivize us in order to develop feasible solutions for a sustainable future in construction. We'd like to revolutionize construction with a basic ecological footprint, taking into account economic and social and ecological aspects. So this is supported by this endowment also. Thank you very much for the financial support. The previous success and achieving future targets would not be possible without intensively cooperating with our competent and open colleagues from the area of engineering and design, the life sciences, the health sciences, social, political, and natural sciences, and of course from IT. We work together with all these fields and disciplines in order to develop a green city of the future, because this is meant to be a metaphor for the fact that sustainability is an extremely complex issue. And you can only ensure sustainability also in the construction industry if we team up and cooperate. So with this interdisciplinary research community that is excellent at our university, we are able to not just use the competences, but we also assume the social responsibility to develop for future global challenges. Sustainability is first and foremost the lead motive of the University of Texas at Austin. Is what starts here changes the world. So let us use this motto, and within this meaning, let us team up to work on a better world for tomorrow, here and now. Thank you very much.
So, meine lieben Damen.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we come to the end of our festive event, there's something else we have to celebrate. 20 years of our presence in Singapore. And Wolfgang Herrmann, it's nice to have you here. He told me that many, many years ago, when nobody was thinking about Singapore in technological terms, and when he went back from Asia through Singapore, he actually went there and he said, this is where we have to go. We need a branch, we need a campus there. International teaching has to be offered at a high level. In German engineering, in German science, and intercultural sensitivity, all of this has to be brought together and has to be linked with Asian relevance of the economic and science system there. And it was exactly the right thing to do. If you look at what happened or what Singapore has become in those 20 years, and also TUM Asia. That used to be, or it was the first German branch abroad of TUM, and it is the only one that is really successful even today. And then 8 years later, we started with research, TUM Create. This was a research center where we conduct research on electromobility and intelligent transportation systems. And recently also we started with food production in the megacity of Singapore, research on food production. In June, I visited them, and Professor Schlichtmann is also here today, but he is here today, but I don't know where he sits. Okay, so I would like to congratulate you. I would like to thank you, and I really have to tell you, for many, many years, you've committed yourself to teachings in TUM Asia and in research and Create. Today's the current CEO of TUM Create, and also Markus Wächter. Markus Wächter, since 2006, he has been the managing director of TUM Asia, and he received the Karl Marx von Bauernfeind medal. He is here today, and he said to me that he was slightly embarrassed that it's the first years in which he's really participating in person. So no, Mr. Wächter, you have to come to the stage. And maybe just briefly introduce TUM Asia to us. Right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just before the end of this event, I'm sure that I have your undivided attention. I'm going to be really brief, however. Quite unusual for myself. We tried to do another live stream going to the other direction, another 10,000 kilometers going east. Singapore, are you ready? I can hear something. Singapore. Oh, that's a really poor connection. We can hardly hear you.
So let's take a walk down the memory lane and see how TUM Asia was established. TUM Asia was established in 2002 with just 20 students and just one Master of Science in Industrial Chemistry. But currently, we have grown so much to having 5 Master of Science degrees and 2 Bachelor of Engineering degrees with overseas partners and local universities. Currently,
Also, alle
So they are really enjoying this occasion. Mr. Wächter, 20 years of TUM Asia. What comes now? What comes next? Now, as you can see, enthusiastic students and staff all over the world. My impression is that we've only just started. For the first 20 years, it was just warming up, preparations. We have great plans for the next 10 years, be it in areas like, Mr. Lang, we should talk about sustainability. We should take it up once again, cyber, and so on. But just generally, we have quite a manageable number of TUM colleagues who are committed to Stefan in Garching. Straubing is missing, Heilbronn is missing, so I'm sure there's still room for improvement, people who might commit their activities there. And I'm sure that in the next 2 years there will be quite a few surprises. And if I may address Minister Blume, the federal president, Mr. Steinmeier, came to us, and Ms. Gerlach joined us recently, so you have to visit us as well. Anytime in 23, please visit us at any time. You're welcome. Thank you. Now, to motivate even more colleagues to commit themselves to TUM Asia and TUM Create, recently the TUM Asia faculty was established, and it's a community of many professors. And next year, there's going to be a kickoff event so that we convince even more people, motivate more people to participate. But now I'd like to come to the end of the festive event. We're slightly behind schedule already, but I would like to thank Dora Show Technic. Although not everything was 100% perfect, but almost room for improvement. But I'd like to thank my team from the presidential office, because with them, without you, nothing would work. So thank you very much for this. That's something that you don't see because they're working in the background where nobody sees them. I would like to thank all of you that so many of you joined us at Dies Academicus in spite of a live stream. It depends on people who are here in person. So thank you for being here. Please take a lot of confidence with you to the new year. Stay connected to us, and we look forward to Alma Naidu once again on the stage. I would like to really, really thank you and Alma for the wonderful musical accompaniment to this Dies Academicus. I wish you a lot of inspiring talks. We prepared a reception out there. Don't just run away, but please use this opportunity for get together so that you will remember this day. And I would like to thank you very much. Stay healthy and take care.
Das letzte meiner Stücke heißt Valbella und ist benannt.
Valbella is the last one of my pieces, and it's a mountain in Franconia which is called Valbella.
As the wind blows through my hair, we can leave the world behind.